Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a pretty dense file, actually. It concerns, well, a plot that was so sensitive it basically vanished the moment it failed.
That's right. We're looking at a highly elusive international operative, a frankly massive security breach within the British government.
And an assassination attempt aimed right at the core of the war cabinet during the Gulf War. High stakes doesn't quite cover it.
Our mission here is to sift through this classified mess and focus on the central figure, Sean Dillon.
And he's not your typical terrorist, is he? The file paints him more as a freelance professional, a gun for hire.
Exactly. A mercenary brought in for an incredibly political job.
The background is just wild. Former IRA, okay, that fits the profile, but then a scholarship to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RD.
And he worked for the National Theatre.
Hold on. An actor. How does that help you become a better killer? Seems like it would make you stand out, if anything.
But that's the crux of it. His acting is his deadliest weapon. It's why he's a ghost. That training is, well, probably the main reason he stayed free for so long.
Okay. And the people pulling the strings. Pure geopolitical theater in itself.
You've got Michael Arium, an Iraqi billionaire, acting as the money man.
And Colonel Joseph Makiv, KGB hardliner, not happy with Moscow's changes, sees this as a way to stir the pot.
Definitely. And then there's the chase team. Brigadier Charles Ferguson's Group 4, think MI5 Special Ops.
Plus the French DGSE. And crucially, Martin Brosnan, who actually knew Dillon from the IRA days.
Right. The files confirm it all started with a bungled attempt on Margaret Thatcher in Paris, near Valentin.
You'd think a failure like that would sink him.
Ironically, no. It cemented his reputation for what came next.
All right, let's get back to this RDA thing. When you say ghost, what are we talking about? Hollywood masks, Mission Impossible tech.
No, nothing like that. That's the brilliance, really. The files describe him as a genius at shifting personality and appearance with almost nothing.
So no fancy prosthetics.
Not really. It's about how he holds himself, his posture, changing his voice slightly, basic makeup. He could apparently make himself look years older just by slumping his shoulders.
He used aliases like Peter Hilton, Henri Jacot.
Exactly. And the intelligence agencies just couldn't pin down a reliable image. They were essentially chasing someone who could look like anyone.
A chameleon. And that's what Iran and Makiv wanted, presumably.
Precisely. Remember the timing, the Gulf War? Saddam Hussein had personally tapped around, leveraging his French citizenship for a particularly sensitive strike against Britain.
The ultimate coup, as the file puts it, a symbolic blow while the UK was focused on the war.
And Makiv. He was just happy to provide the KGB know-how to make it happen. Facilitate the chaos, you could say.
Okay, this is where it gets really dark, though, isn't it? After that initial failed Thatcher job.
Yeah. Dillon didn't hesitate. He demonstrated his ruthlessness immediately. He'd used 2 local informants in Paris, the Joubert brothers.
Pierre and Gaston.
Right. When they tipped off the French police betrayed him, Dillon hunted them down, shot them both. Instantly.
Wow. Killing your own informants straight away. That's cold.
Real.
Calculated, not chaotic. It sends a message.
He framed it as honor. But really, it was about setting a precedent. Betrayal equals death. Full stop. And it secured his network.
He also refused to even talk about the next phase, the London job, until he got paid, right?
Absolutely. Demanded a £1 million advance, sent to a numbered Zurich account. No money, no mission.
Yeah.
His professional code was clear. Get paid, eliminate risks. Survival first.
Okay, so Dillon's got his £1 million. He's made his point about loyalty. Now he needs a new target. Thatcher's off the table, so what's the alternative?
He promises around something even bigger. And this is just audacious. He targets the entire British war cabinet.
The entire cabinet.
Yeah.
Meeting every morning, 10 a.m.
At 10 Downing Street.
Which, as we said, was basically Fortress Thatcher by this point.
Yeah.
Heavy security upgrades after previous threats.
10-foot steel railings, those special blast-proof net curtains everyone talked about, reinforced windows. It should have been impossible to hit.
Should have been. So how did Dillon plan to get around it? You can't exactly stroll in.
He figured they didn't need to go through the defenses. They could go over. He brought in Danny Fahey.
His second cousin, once removed.
Yeah, and a deep-cover IRA guy, apparently an engineering whiz.
And their plan involved modified oxygen tanks as mortars. Sounds like something out of a spy novel.
It does, but it was clever. They took a Ford Transit van, modified it heavily. Inside, 3 homemade mortars, basically just cast iron pipes welded together.
And the ammunition.
Not standard shells.
Yeah.
Modified oxygen cylinders packed with Semtex explosive, designed to arc high over the Downing Street perimeter wall and railings.
That's genius. And the getaway. just as planned out.
Oh, completely professional. Faye sets the timers on the mortars.
They jump onto a motorbike stashed nearby.
A BSA motorcycle, hidden in a second van, straight into London traffic. Then Dillon's final move. Fly himself out.
From a small airfield. Grimethorpe.
Yep. Piloting the plane himself, he had a commercial license from years back, direct to a Rounds private landing strip in Normandy. Chateau Saint-Denis. No airports, no customs. Clean exit. Meanwhile, back in London, the intelligence services are playing catch-up. Brigadier Ferguson realizes they need someone who thinks like Dillon.
Which brings Martin Brosnan back into the picture.
Exactly. His history with Dillon and the IRA was invaluable. Remember, Brosnan got a pardon from President Mitterrand after saving that French photojournalist, Anne-Marie Auden.
So Ferguson recruits him and pairs him with Captain Mary Tanner.
That's right. Decorated military police officer. She had survived an IRA car bombing herself, so she had personal stakes in this.
And Brosnan immediately provides a key lead.
He knew Dillon, knew he'd need supplies in London Semtex, weapons, and he guessed Dillon would use his old underworld contacts, specifically a gangster named Jack Harvey.
Makes sense, but even with that lead, they were already behind, weren't they, because of the leak?
Ah, the leak. This is where the KGB connection, McKeeve's influence, really paid off for Dillon, a devastating breach.
Gordon Brown, a clerk at the Ministry of Defense.
A confidential clerk, yes. Copying top-secret reports marked eyes of the Prime Minister only.
And feeding them directly to his lover, who happened to be KGB, Captain Tanya Novikova.
It's almost unbelievable. This meant Dillon knew everything in real time. He knew Brosnan was hunting him. He knew their strategies, their leads.
So every step the investigators took.
Dillon was already anticipating it. He was always one step ahead because of that inside information.
And the end for Brown and Novikova was grim.
When the security services finally traced the leak and closed in on Novikova's flat, she didn't hesitate.
She killed herself to avoid capture.
With a Makarov pistol, yes. And Brown, who was presumably with her or arrived shortly after, used the same weapon on himself immediately afterwards.
It's the same gun. That's incredibly bleak. Loyalty or maybe just terror of what would come out.
We'll likely never know for sure. But it worked. They took the full extent of the breach and any further leads on Dillon or McKeeve to their graves.
So, the chase is on, they know they're being hunted, but Dillon and Faye still go ahead with the mortar attack. They get the van in position, Whitehall and Horse Guards Avenue.
Faye lights the fuses. They make their escape on the bike.
Did the master assassin finally pull it off? Did the mortars hit?
Well, yes and no. Tactically, it was mostly a failure. Those blast-proof net curtains on Downing Street actually worked surprisingly well.
They absorbed the impact.
Largely, yes. Only one mortar actually landed inside the grounds near the garden. Took out a cherry tree, apparently.
A cherry tree? That's underwhelming.
The other two missed completely. Faye even admitted later they'd rushed the final stages. Didn't have time to weld stabilizing fins onto the oxygen tanks. Accuracy suffered.
So the main objective failed. But Dillon wasn't caught. And he wasn't done cleaning up, was he?
Not even close. This is where his professionalism becomes utterly brutal. The cleanup sweep begins immediately.
First stop, Jack Harvey, the gangster who supplied him.
Dillon tracked him down, tortured him and his heavy, Billy Watson, to get the location of Danny Fahey's safe house, the farm. He could leave any London connection alive or active.
It ensures no trail back to the source of the weapons. Makes sense. In a ruthless way.
Then off to France. Time to collect the final payment.
Which Around never actually sent.
Exactly. Dillon flies himself to Chateau Saint-Denis, expecting its second million. Instead, he walks right into Around and McKeeve's double-cross.
An ambush. But Dillon being Dillon.
He was ready. Quick, messy gunfight. Dillon kills Around, McKeeve, and an Iraqi captain named Rashid who was with them. Used a Walther pistol with a Carswell silencer. Very efficient.
And he survives because McKeeve actually shot him,
But Dillon was wearing a custom bulletproof vest. A little gift from Tanya Novikova, the KGB agent.
Wow. The security leak that helped him evade capture also inadvertently saved his life in the end. The irony.
It's quite something. Dillon grabs Around's briefcase full of cash, presumably the money Around hadn't sent, and just vanishes, on foot.
Minutes before Brosnan and Tanner arrive.
Literally minutes. They land their plane, find the bodies, but Dillon is gone. Into thin air again.
So, looking at the whole picture, the attack itself mostly failed. Huge embarrassment for the government. But the man behind it walks away completely clean. What was the official reaction?
Sweep it under the rug. Fast. Brigadier Ferguson got on the line of French intelligence, ordered a complete media blackout, total security clampdown.
The official story.
It never happened.
Hmm?
They couldn't afford the panic, the political fallout, admitting Downing Street itself had been successfully attacked, even if ineffectively, and that the perpetrator got away clean after multiple murders. Unthinkable.
So let's wrap this up. What does this deep dive really tell us, especially for you listening? Well, Dillon's main mission, the assassination, it failed. Pretty spectacularly, in fact.
But he didn't fail. He evaded capture by, 3 different intelligence agencies, and he systematically eliminated anyone who could link him to the plot.
It really highlights how devastating internal leaks can be, doesn't it? Gordon Brown's actions nearly gave Dillon everything he needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it shows Dillon's real strength wasn't just the network he used the IRA know-how from Pahey, the underworld access via Harvey, the KGB intel from Novikova and Makiv.
It was his own professional focus.
Exactly that. Agility and survival, get the money first, tie up loose ends ruthlessly, that was his core principle.
Which brings us back to the man himself. Dillon, the actor. Peter Hilton. Henri Jacot, always a different face, a different persona, trained at Arbity to become someone else.
He uses it constantly to survive, to stay one step ahead.
So here's something to think about.
Yeah.
If you spend your entire life changing who you are just to survive the next day, the next pursuit, what's the cost? What happens when being a phantom means you lose track of who you actually are underneath it all? Is that the ultimate price?
Something to definitely chew on. Until next time.